Welcome back to Podcast Basket episode 9. My name is David Sheeran. I'm joined by Landon Harvey. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Hi, my name's Landon Harvey. I'm a comedian ventriloquist based out of Dallas, Texas. You can find me at Landon Venting on all the social media platforms as well.
So the first question is, what got you into puppetry and ventriloquism?
I was always an introvert as a kid. At 6 years old, my dad brought back a pirate puppet from one of his trips that he goes on for his business, and I named it Chips Ahoy, started toying around with it. I did shows for, friends at school and show and tells, and we would save up tickets, that we'd get for good behavior in class, and I'd, cash them all in to bring a puppet to school, and I would, pick out, jokes from a joke book, and it kind of just spiraled into something that allowed me to get out of my introverted state and kind of hit the stage. So spiraled
And
into something crazy.
how many do you own?
I own 10 puppets, but I have other puppets that I built for a ventriloquist convention. But of the 10 I own, I use some for different audiences, like family audiences, kid audiences. I do library shows, so I have some characters for that, specific to those. And then I do adult shows as well at comedy clubs and things like that.
What's your favorite show that you've done?
My favorite show that I've done was probably it was a series of shows. I won the Vent Haven Junior Mike Competition People's Choice Award. That is the longest name for an award. And I won that 3 years in a row, and it's my favorite show to date because of the fact I'm the only person that's ever won it 3 years in a row, and because the first year I wasn't even supposed to be on the ballot for the show. I wasn't even supposed to be in that show, and I had gotten on the show because I won the Terry Fader Scholarship, and that year I wanted to perform at the convention. It's always been a dream of mine, and I went up to Bob Rumba, who was the host of the general open mic, which is a later open, it's like an open mic night at the convention. So it's like around 9 o'clock to like 12 or something. And he said, "Oh, you don't want to get on my show. I'll just heckle you, and you'll do your thing and then get off. You want to get on the junior mic competition." He was actually the one that got me on my first show for the junior mic competition, and it was amazing. I mean, it was a really great crowd. And I kind of came out of nowhere because I had never been at a convention. So people were like asking for my autograph afterwards and taking photos with me. And I had never been on TV or anything like that, but I guess I just kind of startled people. And I always look young for my age, and I was 15 or 16 back then. And so I probably looked like I was 11 or 12, which made it even more impressive and kind of played into that. But that was my favorite show.
What's your favorite puppet?
My favorite puppet is Bill the Zombie. I'm currently working on him. I have around, I think, 15 minutes of material for Bill. And if you follow me on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, you'll see a lot of content with Bill the Zombie. He talks about what it's like being a zombie in today's climate. And, he's, very on-edge character, but a lot of fun to write for. And he's gotten a really great response from my TikTok crowd too, which is why I think he's my favorite right now, because I love writing for him, and people want to check in on him, and people want videos from him. So it makes it a really neat thing to see that the community, my followers, really enjoy that.
Where do you get your inspiration for your puppets?
That's a great question. There's a puppet builder, or there was. I think she's retired now. I don't know if she's still alive, but her name's Verna Finley, and she pioneered soft puppets within the ventriloquist community, and I've always looked up to her as a builder. But I've always kind of done my own thing, and I always, on every puppet I build, I never use the same patterns, and everything's different. So every puppet looks different, and every character looks unique to itself. And my inspiration comes from other performers I've seen, other puppets I've seen, some people I see on the street. In terms of performing, I'm always inspired by Terry Fader, David Strassman, Jeff Dunham. There's so many greats out there. There's so many greats. So and in terms of puppet building, I'm inspired by Barry Gordimer, Melissa and Marion Taylor, Verna Finley, as I had mentioned, Jet from the Dummy Shop. I love Puppet Heap as well. Those are some big puppet builders right now that have inspired me in what I do and have given me a detailed eye for the craft.
Have you found that your career has been supported more than it's been like pushed away or hated?
I would say so, yeah. I think from what I've heard from other performers, it was hard to be a ventriloquist even, 10, 20 years ago because, especially in the comedy scene, you were seen as a prop comic. But now, because of AGT and all of this media everywhere, ventriloquism is kind of cool again. And so I'm constantly just finding a way to make it my own and different. And I've been trying to do like vlogs with puppets or different kind of reaction videos, and I've already got a bunch of stuff planned for Christmas and for October. So I'm constantly thinking of new ways to film stuff and ways to interact with my crowd. But I get a lot more positive response than negative. But I think that's also because I've been at this for 13, 14 years at ventriloquism, and I'm finally at the point where I can create a character from start to finish, and it can be fully gelled out, which is really great.
And how do you, when you do find hate or bullying, how have you found ways of coping with it?
Yeah, so every once in a while I'll get a comment that says something like, I saw your throat move, which you really can't do a lot about that. Whenever you're doing ventriloquism like this, your throat is going to move because I have, um, whatever. I mean, congrats. They found out I'm a ventriloquist. I don't think I was fooling anyone to begin with. But every once in a while on my TikToks, you'll see kind of my teeth are kind of separated a little bit, and you can kind of see my tongue move. And the way I think of it is it's quality versus quantity. I heard Gary Vee once say that it matters not as much what you're putting out on TikTok, but how much you put out on TikTok or on the social media platforms. And that was kind of what he lived by. And he was talking to people about how they're too worried about the quality of what they put out. And so a lot of when I do these TikToks, I just pick up a puppet and I'll take a hashtag or I'll just kind of go with it. And I really nothing's scripted, so nothing's rehearsed. And when it's rehearsed and perfected, I can focus more on the ventriloquism aspect. But when you're kind of going, it just, you don't focus on it as much because you're trying to figure out what you're going to say. So, it's a give and a get, but some of the constructive criticism is taken into account. Some of it I use, and some of it you just go, okay, they've got nothing better to do, and they, just comment that, so whatever.
Do you find it easier going off a whim or a structure? Like, do you find it easier to write a script and then perform it, or just wing it?
Yeah. So for performing, I have to have a script. I'm very worried that, and it kind of goes back to I didn't do shows till I was like in high school, and I think that's because I was so worried about the quality of what I was putting out there that I didn't want it to be bad to begin with. And that's the thing is whenever anyone starts at something, they're going to be bad at it, and then you have to practice to get better. But yeah, in terms of that, what was your question? I'm like going on my own.
Find it easier following like a structured
Right, that's right. So yeah, I have to have a script, but I find that when I practice a script enough, there can be points within the script where I can have the puppet ad-lib, or the puppet can break the script and talk to an audience member, and then I can kind of pull the puppet back in and we can kind of continue. And that allows the show to kind of be more lively and interactive, and it allows me to kind of change things up a bit too. But I have to have it scripted, and having it scripted allows me to focus more on the character too than what I would just say in the moment.
Do you prefer, what type of comedy do you find easier to write?
I have to have a situation first. So like situational comedy, I have to have a situation that the puppet's in, and that's usually how I come up with the character. For Bill the zombie, I wanted him to be, you always saw zombies as these horrible, evil, like kind of groaning beings. They're like following you and trying to eat you. And I'm like, what if one of those zombies would just like moaning and complaining? Like maybe he's not actually trying to eat your brain, but he like suggests it. Like I just thought I thought the idea was funny. And so I toyed with the idea for a while, and then I ended up having Bill created, and then he's gone through a few, you know, Botox surgeries, and now he is where he is today. But in terms of writing and in comedy, I usually will take a situational comedy and put the character in that situation and put myself in it and kind of go from there and then add jokes into the situation and as we go. And kind of I do like a wagon wheel where I will write topics about, zombies and everything that they do. Also trying to keep it relatable. So like maybe how zombies tie into, 2020 or, what it's like being a zombie today, is it politically incorrect? Do you have to ask for people's consent before you eat their brain? All that. So it's it's a lot of fun, but I would say most everything I write starts off with a situational comedy foundation. Yeah.
Do you find that TikTok's got less hate than most other social medias?
I actually, because I have over 400,000 followers on TikTok, and I would say that because I have the most followers on TikTok, I have the most haters. But even saying that isn't that much of a worry for me because I don't have a lot of, I've probably had like maybe 20 comments total, and I've been on TikTok since this past October. So it hasn't been as bad, but every now and then you'll get like troll commenters and everything, and you can't get mad about it because it's like a 12-year-old, going, I can see your, I know you're talking for the puppet, or nothing major enough to like actually mess with me.
It's like I don't normally read comments. I normally just type my comment and then leave. But
Right.
I started watching or binge watching a few of your videos today. And I was actually reading through some of the comments, and some of the comments are actually quite funny.
Yeah.
Like one of them, it wasn't even that funny. It just made me laugh. It was, you and Scooter were asking for ideas, and why don't you do one with a child who's a ghost that's actually doesn't want to scare people but still scares people? I can't remember the name. I think it's something like Jasper.
Yeah.
And that really, really, really made me laugh.
Yeah, I think I that was one where I was asking my fan base what TikTok videos they wanted me to do or YouTube videos they wanted me to do for Halloween, and I was kind of seeing what they were thinking about. Yeah, and that's a great cat. Yeah, that's hilarious doing the Casper the Ghost one. It's always fun to see some of the comments. Some of them are hilarious. Oh my gosh. Some of them are really great, and every once in a while I'll get a good idea for a joke from something someone comments. So that's fun too. And I try to reply to almost everyone. I'm busy, but I try to reply to a lot of the people. So
it's the way she put Jasper. I don't know why that made me laugh so much, because it wasn't that far from the name. And then I looked at replies, and then you just put Casper.
Yeah.
But I've noticed you do try to reply to everyone, which I think
for the most
good.
part.
Most creators don't.
I'm sorry?
Most creators don't seem to connect to their fans.
Right. Yeah, well, you have, I'm very thankful for my fans. I've always wanted to have fans, and the fact that TikTok has provided it's really crazy because I didn't have a fan base until I got on TikTok, and TikTok has allowed me to reach so many people from all over the world. And so the fact that I, have these fans, I want to validate them and know that, they're heard and that I appreciate everything that they, they do, whether it's following me or sending me gifts on my live stream or, buying my merch, which is teespring.com/Landon Harvey. Landon Venting, something like that. And, I appreciate them. So I try to answer all of them. And sometimes I'll do video responses too.
It's like I was shocked because I followed you on Instagram, and then I sent you a message, and I looked. Normally what I do go for is the people who are following more than they're being followed, because I seem to get more replies from that. But for me, you were a shot in the dark, because I was like, looking at how many people follow him and how many people he follows, I reckon he gets about 100 messages a day.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But I love doing these podcasts, and I love sharing my story and helping other people. And what's crazy is that I've inspired so many people on TikTok to become, kids to become ventriloquists or to pick up ventriloquism. And that wasn't even my goal. But, people are inspired what I do, and I'm happy to be a contributor to keep the art alive. So it's great.
But I have thoroughly enjoyed your TikTok videos.
Oh,
Like
thank you.
I've been weaning off TikTok for a while now because I was spending like 5 hours just scrolling through it. But then
Yeah.
you popped up, and then I was straight back on it. Like you're the normally I watch loads of people during the day, but today I've only watched your video.
Great. Now we have someone to blame. Thanks. Yeah, it's an addictive thing. I'll spend an hour on there just trying to figure out what I'm going to post, and then I'll go post something that's totally irrelevant to anything I've been watching for that past hour. But yeah, it's a wormhole of content, but they've got a bunch of great stuff out there. So
The problem is you like one video with one hashtag in, and then you get spammed by other ones with that hashtag, and then you
yeah.
just end up going down a slope.
But what's really neat about TikTok, and I was talking to someone the other day about this, and they're like, what's the difference between TikTok and Instagram? And of course, you have the user interface and the infrastructure of it. But TikTok is more like a family. It's weird. Like you have a bunch of people that are, a lot of more, I see a lot of people, and I follow with the comedy, but I see a lot of people joking around everything. And I don't think I've ever laughed as hard as I have seeing certain comments I have on TikTok. Whether it's on my videos or other people's videos, and people connecting in the comments and stuff. It's really a neat web of people just joking around and talking to one another and sharing ideas and um, you know
But I suppose with TikTok is you can find exactly what you want.
right.
Like you type in the hashtag puppets, and
Hmm.
then if you've just joined TikTok and you like one video with puppets, that's all your FYP page will be full of. You
Yeah.
won't get bombarded by loads of adverts or anything else. Like
And
on
I don't like
YouTube,
puppets. I think they're creepy, but yeah, they're it's great. That's
but
why I follow comedy, but yeah, totally. It's a great algorithm, and it's interesting to see what other there are a few other ventriloquists on TikTok too that I follow, and it's neat. We all kind of follow each other, and we're all different content makers and builders, and really really neat stuff.
do you think TikTok could do anything to improve its algorithm? Algorithm.
I'll say this because I'm selfish. I think that they need to have a verification process that is quicker and that is an actual verification process. Because I'm a legitimate performer, but if you have like 1 million followers, you can be verified, which seems okay. But like, what about people that like don't? And like, I know this
I think you
celebrity,
can
and she's been trying
verify
to get
it.
verified, and she doesn't know how. TikTok's weird on their verification progress. That's what they. Every once in a while, I get a thing that says, "Do you want to rate us 5 stars?" And I go, "I don't know. You want to give me a verification?" Um, but yeah, we'll do a little trade off TikTok. But yeah, that's what I would. That's what I would like is something where, they have even Instagram is weird because I have all the requirements to be verified on Instagram.
On
But
Instagram, you have to verify yourself.
right, exactly. But and I've tried to do that, but the weird thing is it's like you have to be in like news articles or something. So I'm like, okay, but like they don't. What they need to do is in the verification progress, they need to have something where it searches the web and it highlights things that you don't have yet for your verification. So you kind of have something to work toward. I think that would outline it a little bit better and cleaner and allow people to understand more. Because I'm not like some 12-year-old on here who like has a dank meme account and wants to be verified. You know what I mean? Like I'm an actual performer, and I'm like a puppet builder, and I do all this stuff. So something that's a little bit more clear within the lines of verifications showing, because I'm big into branding and like highlighting your brand as a verified account is important. So probably something like that is what I would recommend. And if they're watching this, I hope they take the hint. You can verify me at Landon Venting. That'd be great. We'll send this to them after the show.
Another thing is, Going back to that 5-star rating, my friend on TikTok, she's brilliant. Used to go live pretty much every night, and she was entertaining as anything. And I used to watch every live. But one night, a 5-year-old or something, reported her, and she got banned. And then, as I got kicked off the live, TikTok had the nerve to send me a notification to go, "How would you rate your experience?"
Yeah, that's probably the other thing I would say about TikTok is that, anyone can kind of ban your live stream, and they don't really I don't think there's anyone there that's kind of overlooking it. So when I started live streaming, I got flagged for inappropriate content, all types of weird stuff, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. What I found out is the more followers you get, the less the time on the restriction ban for live streams you have. So I got banned from a live stream. I think one of the puppets said I accidentally cursed or something. I get these cast members from off the street, so they're not the cleanest people. But anyway, it was crap or something. They said it was nothing, and I was banned for 8 minutes or 10 minutes, and I'm like, come on, you guys. Felt like I was being put in timeout for by the TikTok police. But yeah, it's kind of weird. That's a weird thing when anyone can just kind of report you. It's a little too much power. But I don't know.
Are you working on anything that you can share with us?
Oh, I am. That's a good question. Mostly material. I'm working on a bunch of new characters right now, just to kind of add to my show, and I have different characters for different shows. So I have this dog named Biscuit, and he's this old Texas dog, and I've done some TikTok lives with him and some TikToks with him, and he's gone over well. So I'm working on some material with him. And that's going well, and just kind of the memorization, which is a doozy because it's my least favorite part of the whole thing, is having to memorize it. But you practice and practice, memorize it, and then finally, by the time that it's memorized, you're tired of hearing it, and then you get to perform it on stage, and it gives you a rush because you're like, oh wow, it went well, or oh, now I know what to fix, and so I'm really hungry and excited to get back on stage with all the stuff that I've been working on lately, like Bill and Marcel, who's my mime character, Marcel So, and Biscuit, the dog.
Have you ever given up on a puppet before?
Oh yeah, and it's upsetting, and I put so much money and time, and I built it. It was this rooster I built. It was his name was Gilbert, and it was this goofy rooster, and at the end of the bit, he fell apart, and I put him in a KFC bucket. I had this whole, it seemed like such a great visual gag, but I couldn't figure out how I would write up to the point where he fell apart, and I just kind of had to set him aside for a little while, and I haven't done anything with him since, but he was a beautiful puppet. I'll probably get him back out one day. I think it's going to happen like it did Marcel. I had another version of the puppet built when I was I think 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. It was a while ago. And I really didn't know what to do with the puppet. And then I ended up just now thinking of, over the past month or so, thinking of what I would do with it. I wrote a whole script in 20 minutes. And then I had it revised by a few writer. And then I built the puppet. And now it's gelling out more. I'm getting it to the point where I can actually see it as a viable character that I can bring up and present in front of an audience. So I think that might happen, but yeah, it was, I spent a lot of time and a lot of effort hoping that character, it was my senior year of high school, and I was really hoping that character would work, but I couldn't quite get it. And the problem is a lot of the stuff that I was hearing from other people, they're like, do chicken puns. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do chicken puns. I don't like, a pun every now and then is okay, but, relying on puns for all your comedy is, that's rough. So, I had to kind of shelf him for a while, and that's where he is now.
This may be a personal question, but what's the most expensive puppet you've created?
The most expensive puppet? Oh, that's a good question. I have puppets that go for a couple of grand, to people. I sell puppets on the originaldummy.com. I build custom puppets, and I have a 3-tier system of building: a basic tier, a middle tier, and then the third tier, which is anywhere from, I don't even know, it's like around a couple of grand. But that allows me to build at what kind of people, if people want a puppet from me but they don't have all the money, or they want a basic puppet, I can do something like that. But if they want like the best puppet, like a true character, and like in the best puppet, like something I would build for myself, like the Jackalope character I have, or Bill or Marcel, something of that quality, it's upwards of a couple grand. But you get this unique character, and it's all the patterning and everything, which I think goes a lot unseen by the ventriloquist community, because they look at hard figures and they're fine spending that on a hard puppet, but for a soft puppet they don't understand. And I'm like, well, it's a lot more work than you would intend. And of course these other builders are charging you less, and I could charge you less, but that's because they're using the same patterns, and they're not, your puppet compared to their other work looks like it could be in an assembly line with them. And when I build you a puppet, it won't look like I even built it, because it'll be so unique. And I think that's my style, is just cartoony, but where everything kind of takes its own, and it doesn't really look uniform to a specific way I build.
Do you go by any rough guidelines, or do you just create one?
Oh, that's a great question. I had a sketch of Bill the Zombie, and I built him, and it was right on the money. I mean, from the sketch, and I was really proud of that. But I usually do, if it's a client, I'm building for a client or for myself, I'll do a sketch of the front face, the profile, side profile, and then any kind of mechanisms, if they have it, I'll try to figure that out in a sketch before I build that. So usually I try to keep to a sketch, but sometimes it ends up changing throughout the puppet, depending on the limitations of the materials.
So I've just had the notification to say we've got 9 minutes and 45 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
You guys can find me at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LandonHarvey.com. You can find me on all the social medias at Landon Venting, or just type in Landon Harvey. It'll be the one probably with the most followers, I think. And, I hope you check out my content, and that you enjoy it, and that you let me know what you think of it by commenting. I always, respond to people, and I love to see what you guys like the most. So,
well, thank you for joining me. I will put all your links in the description below, along with a little message to say thank you. I will also connect all your social medias for you. Thank you for joining.
All right. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
And you.